This is Biden's moment. The Lost Letters of Bob Dylan. They still... Well, this would be a really hit... What the fuck? They got a walking demented death rattle on the cover, and then they're also touting another guy who's 80 years old. This is rock and roll, baby. That's kind of funny. Because it's also kind of funny what they did. So they went... So here's the thing. You don't have to write this article, Rolling Stone, but they did. And so if you're going to endorse Joe Biden, the way to do it, because Donald Trump is such a horrible thing, the way to do it isn't by lying. So Rolling Stones decides to lie for Joe Biden, proving that we're better than Donald Trump by completely lying and gaslighting. You think I'm kidding? So let's watch this. We've lived for the four past years under a man categorically unfit to be president. So that's why we're endorsing Joe Biden. So why stop now, right? By the way, remember when getting the cover of Rolling Stone used to be cool? I do. I remember that. So we lived for the 4 past years under a man who categorically unfit. Fortunately for America, Joe Biden is Donald Trump's opposite in nearly every category. That is not true. That is straight up. Rolling Stone is just another garbage publication. I don't know who the hell. Is this their editorial board? Do they have an editorial board? I guess they do.
Did you see that it's not written by one person?
How many
it's
people?
Written by the Rolling Stone, this article.
Everybody there?
Not one person put their name to this.
Nobody put their name to it. I'm sure Matt Taibbi did not have his hand in writing this. You know, the actual journalist at the Rolling Stone. I'm sure he didn't have anything to do with it. So fortunately for America, listen to this garbage. Fortunately for America, Joe Biden is Donald Trump's opposite in nearly every category. The Democratic presidential nominee evinces competence, compassion, steadiness, integrity, and restraint. So again, every one of those is a lie. They're not fudging. They're just lying. They're just gaslighting. Rolling Stone is trying to say this is a better candidate than that liar Donald Trump by lying about Joe Biden. Jimmy, come on, that's a little strong. Okay. So when you say competence, he evinces competence, evinces. Hey, guess what? The asshole over at Rolling Stone got us, what do they call this? What is the synonym books? What are they called? A
Thesaurus?
Yeah, thesaurus. I couldn't even think of this.
Yeah, I need a.
What is that book? What's another book for the word of books? Books of words? What is another word for that?
Thesaurus.
Thesaurus. Evinces. Evinces? He evinces competence. Come on. First of all, when you say competence, do you mean the competence when he wrote the crime bill, or the confidence when he voted to deregulate Wall Street, or the confidence when he voted for the Iraq war, or the confidence when he did Libya, turned it into a failed slave state, or the confidence when he kicked 5.1 million families out of their houses during the last economic downturn? You mean that kind of competence? The competence when he made it harder for people who were under a mountain of medical bills debt made it harder for them to declare bankruptcy? That kind of competence? What kind of competence does Joe Biden evince? What kind of competence are you talking about? At what point was Joe Biden ever competent in his career? I'm going to tell you, at no point, ever. And that's a straight up lie. This is Rolling Stone completely this. What a there's no point to have it. What is the point of Rolling Stone? Who the fuck reads this shit? What is the point of this? This is like the Lawrence Welk Stone. This is not Rolling Stone. So that's the first one. That's complete bullshit. The next one, compassion. He evinces compassion. You want to see him talking to here's a Hispanic begging Joe Biden to help people who are being deported. Because Barack Obama and Joe Biden deported more Hispanics than all the other presidents combined. They put immigrants in cages, and they gassed them at the border, and they bombed Muslims for 8 straight years. This guy's asking them, could you do something for immigrants? And here's what Joe Biden tells him.
Is that over those 8 years, there were 3 million people that were deported and separated from their families. Yeah. We had this classification of families.
Well, you should vote for Trump.
families.
You should vote for Trump.
I'm not going to do that. But I want to make sure that immigrant families and people like Sylvia are not afraid. And you have the power as a candidate to actually commit to stop all deportations from day one through executive action. And we want to hear you say that.
I will not stop.
Go vote for Trump. There's his compassion. There's a Hispanic. The first thing out of his mouth, vote for Trump. Do you want to hear it again? Here, because I want to play it again.
For those 8 years, there were 3 million people that were deported and separated from their families.
Yeah.
We had this classification of families.
Well, you should vote for Trump.
Families
You should vote for
felons,
Trump.
and
No, you tell me what's worse. Joe Biden, who actually did deport this guy's family members at a record pace, more than all the other presidents combined, or going on Tucker Carlson. I'm going to say what Joe Biden did is much, 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 much worse. He actually had power. He actually did criminalize immigrants. He actually did gas them at the border. He actually put children in cages. Joe Biden put children in cages. Joe Biden did that. So the point of this is to show you what a garbage publication Rolling Stone is, and they are. I know Matt Taibbi writes for them, so whenever he writes, it's probably good, but the rest of the time, this is unbelievable garbage. Or unless they write something nice about me, then it's good. So he's not competent at any turn. Joe Biden's been on the wrong side of history his entire career, and the punishment for that is he gets to be the Democratic nominee and probably president. He's been on the wrong side of every issue. He's not competent. Does he have compassion? He does not have compassion. I just showed you. That was the whole point of us showing you this. Now, what's the next one? Steadiness? What is that? What does steadiness even mean? Steadiness? Here's him being. Is this steady? And they ask him if he's for the Green New Deal.
I mean, the Green New Deal and the idea of what your environmental changes will do.
The Green New Deal will pay for itself as we move forward. We're not going to build plants that, in fact, are great polluting plants.
So do you
We're going to
support
build
the Green New Deal?
Pardon me?
Do you support?
No, I don't support the Green.
Is that your idea of steadiness, Rolling Stone? Nameless, faceless, incompetent stooge who wrote this for the Rolling Stone, for Rolling Stone. So that's his steadiness. That's Joe Biden's steadiness. Or you know the thing. You know the thing. That kind of steadiness. I could show you clips all day long. It's just this is like a joke. Like, is Rolling Stone? Are they punking their readers? Because that's what it seems like. So what's the next one? Integrity. Okay, let's see Joe Biden's integrity. You want to see Joe Biden's integrity?
Explaining to do. The new questions stem from taped remarks of Biden during an April campaign appearance in New Hampshire.
I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class to have a full academic scholarship. Went back to law school and, in fact, ended up in the top half of my class. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school and 165 credits, only needed 123 credits.
Biden now concedes he did not graduate in the top half of his law school class, that he does not have 3 degrees from college, and that he was not named outstanding political science student in college.
Newsweek says Biden actually went to school on a half scholarship, ended up near the bottom of his class, and won only 1 degree, not 3.
Joe Biden ranked 76th in a class of 85 at the University of Syracuse Law School. I mean, this guy comes off this whole thing as a flyweight.
Now Biden says Newsweek is right. His memory had failed him.
Steady.
So remember what we're doing. That's his integrity. So he had to drop out. Then I didn't even show you the plagiarism he did. Like, he had to drop out of that race because he got caught plagiarizing in that same race. So I'm not even going to bother to show you that, but we've showed you that on this show a million times. He totally plagiarized a speech from a European politician and put it right in his. He does that all the time. He's a plagiarist. He got in law school. He got failed a class because he got caught plagiarizing. The guy doesn't have integrity. So every one of these, this is the reason. And restraint. What do you mean? What does that mean, restraint? He sure did show restraint in writing his own speeches. You mean that kind of restraint? Should I write my own speech? No, restrain yourself. Plagiarize. Okay. Every one of those things Rolling Stone says is true is false. Completely. 100% false. Joe Biden's steadiness? Joe Biden is demented. Joe Biden can barely read a speech. Everything they say here is complete bullshit. And so you're fighting a bullshit artist, Donald Trump, with bullshit. Do you understand do you see why I just have complete disdain and disrespect for journalism in America? Because they're either doing this or they're ignoring that this is happening. Now you got every journalist in America saying that a fact is Russian disinformation about Hunter Biden. Do you understand how journalism is garbage in America? That I'm doing a better job than they are without even trying? The people at Rolling Stone, they went to college, Ivy League. They're career climbers. They made it to the editorial board at Rolling Stone. And this is the stuff they write, stuff that I can pick apart high in my garage without even trying. Without even effing trying.
Is the restraint part, Jimmy, where he's going to veto Medicare for all if it comes across his desk? Is that the restraint part?
Yeah. Oh, that's the restraint. He's going to restrain himself from giving us health care in the middle of a pandemic. Is he going to restrain himself from giving us a UBI during a pandemic? Is he going to restrain himself?
Jobs program?
From banning fracking? He's going to restrain himself from banning fracking? Is he going to restrain himself? The magazine that used to have a column by Hunter S. Thompson, who called out the duopoly going as far back as Nixon, is now pumping Joe Biden. In other words, the magazine that used to be famous for calling out Nixon is now endorsing Nixon. And there are few better suited to the challenge. There are few Americans better suited to the challenge than Joe Biden.
Are you kidding? That's a joke line. That's like from The Onion.
This is like, I know. How about the guy in the primary who actually excited people? Would he be better? Hey, Joe Biden's lengthy history of fabrication, plagiarism, and racial controversy. This is the guy. This is the integrity, the steadiness, the compassion, the competence. This is the guy. Subtitle. In 1987, Joe Biden said publicly that he marched during the civil rights movement, but later he admitted he was not an activist and he was not out marching. Biden has amends to make. The 1994 crime bill he helped usher through the Senate expanded America's prison industrial complex. I wrote the damn bill, the 1994 crime bill, which created mass incarceration, more prisons, longer sentencing, escalated the war on drugs, and targeted African Americans. The 1994 crime bill that he helped usher through the Senate expanded America's prison industrial complex. But Biden, despite his age, has retained agility in his thinking. The world has changed, and Biden is responsive to it.
What?
So they're trying to tell you that Biden has changed his view on the crime bill in 1994.
He hasn't.
We've officially reached the part in the article where Rolling Stones just throws up their hands and says, we hope you don't read this far down. Do you want to see how do you want to see his agility in his thinking? Mm-hmm. Do you want to see Joe Biden's, how he's retained the agility in his thinking? You want to see?
That's like just flat out acknowledging. We've been doing everything we can do to keep Biden from being the nominee, and guess what? We tried it in Iraq. It's not working, so now we're going to try, in Iran? Excuse me. We tried in Ukraine.
I'm sorry, that goes under more steadiness, I guess. That would be more under steadiness. So in 1994, the crime bill, he helped usher through the Senate, expanded America's prison industrial complex. But Biden, despite his age, has retained agility in his thinking. The world has changed, and so has Biden. Really? Biden has changed?
Another thing about how perspectives change over time. Bobby Rush, member of Congress, said the other day, I'm ashamed that I voted for the 94 crime bill. You ashamed of that bill?
Not at all.
Is that his agility in his thinking? There's your agility in his thinking. He's been sticking by the 1994 crime bill all through this campaign, up until 5 seconds ago when he said anything that was bad that came out of that was because of the way the states implemented it. So he still stands by his 1994 crime bill. So when they tell you that Biden, despite his age, has retained agility in his thinking, the Rolling Stone is straight up lying. They're not even gaslighting. They're just lying to you. This is just lying. This is how you beat a lying megalomaniac Donald Trump, by lying in print. Does this make you a good person because you are willing to lie for good? Because that's what they're telling themselves at Rolling Stone. Boy, I would love to see Matt Taibbi actually do a takedown of this. Of course he can't because he works for them.
To me, the reason why there's not a name attached to this article, Jimmy, is because this is straight from the campaign.
Was this written by Joe Biden's campaign? Rolling Stone, do you have a shred of integrity? The answer is no. No, everyone who works at Rolling Stone is just another garbage corporate climber. They don't care about journalism or integrity or the truth. They're all protecting their fucking little corporate job. That's what they're all doing. Perhaps most important in this moment, Biden holds a profound respect for the institution of American democracy. He holds profound respect for the institution of American democracy.
That's better than just respect, Jimmy. It is profound respect.
As well as a deep knowledge about how our governments and our system of checks and balances is meant to work.
He doesn't even know the difference between Iran, Iraq, and Ukraine.
I know. That's profound, deep knowledge. He's got such deep knowledge. He knows how to screw people over on Wall Street. He knows how to screw people over in bankruptcies. He knows how to screw people over trying to get health care. He knows how to screw people over in student debt. He knows how to screw people over in Libya. He knows how to screw homeowners over. He knows how to open the Arctic to drilling twice. That's how good he knows about how government works. This is Rolling Stone. This is a garbage. This is garbage.
So they're pretending if he gets into office that there'll be checks and balances.
Our system of checks and balances. You want to see Joe Biden's system of checks and balances? Mm-hmm. Hey, the Republicans are crazy right-wing authoritarians. So can the Democrats be. That's how we check them. Watch.
Well, I wasn't wedded to the notion. Every time Richard Nixon, when I was running in 1972, would say law and order, the Democratic mantra, the response was law and order with justice, whatever that meant. And I'd say lock the SOBs up.
There's your checks and balances. He's not even a check on Nixon. That's what Donald Trump says now, law and order. And what does Joe Biden say? Lock the SOBs up. There's your checks and balances. They're both trying to out-check each other who can be more right-wing, authoritarian, fascist. That's Joe Biden's idea. So that's what the Rolling Stones mean by checks and balances? He's bragging that he's more right-wing than Nixon. This is your check and balance guy. On racial issues, Biden promises an America where hate has no quarter. I thought you could defeat hate. It only hides. And when someone in authority breathes oxygen under that rock, it legitimizes those folks to come out from under the rocks. Well, this is from Snopes. Former U.S. Vice President Joe Biden once said he didn't want his kids to grow up in a racial jungle in regards to desegregation. That is true. So according to Rolling Stone, he's the guy who's going to save us from hate. But he doesn't want his kids to grow up in a racial jungle. Biden recognizes America's systemic racism, and he knows it's nothing but good old-fashioned shot in the leg that's going to fix it. Biden has won a diverse backing. Think of it as a coalition of the decent. I swear to God, this is really in there. It's a coalition of the decent. You want to see who's in the coalition of the decent? Are you ready? According to Rolling Stone, the people supporting Biden are. If you're supporting Biden, you're in the coalition of the decent. You want to hear who's in that coalition? Well, it starts off with Bernie Sanders, Barbara Lee, and AOC. Okay. And then it goes over to John Kasich, Cindy McCain, and Bill Kristol. Wow. Wow. A magazine built on rock and roll, celebrating the people on the right who would have banned it if they could have. John Kasich, Sidney McCain, and Bill Kristol would have banned rock and roll. These are the people you're touting as decent. Decent, John Kasich, anti-union, take the right of women's away. These are decent people. Screw over union workers. Cindy McCain and Bill Kristol, architects of Iraq War. This is the coalition of the decent. Boy, that's a big net of decent there. Is Charlie Manson in that group? Because it sounds like you're using a big wide net. How did Charlie Manson not make it into the coalition of the decent? That's the coalition of the decent? The weapons industry lobbyists are advising Joe Biden. They're probably in the coalition of the decent too, aren't they? Or if they're advising Joe Biden, they have to be in the coalition of the decent. Stuart Eisenstadt has worked as a powerful political advisor as well as a corporate lobbyist for the oil and arms industries. The danger of going on, this is in the stupid Rolling Stone article. The danger of climate change is not a future concern. It's our deadly present. Trump and his party live in denial, rejecting basic climate science and pushing ahead with policies that permit the unfettered drilling of fossil fuels. Has he embraced the Green New Deal? No. Democrats quietly cut opposition to fossil fuel subsidies from the DNC platform. So this is all bullshit. The Republicans don't listen to the scientists. Joe Biden and the Democrats do. They do not. They do not, you liars at the Rolling Stone. You straight up gaslighting tools of the establishment. You are the establishment. That's the problem with Rolling Stone. I predict they're going to get rid of their podcast soon because it's the only thing that's worth a shit over there. Democrats quietly cut opposition to fossil fuel subsidies from DNC platform. How a fossil fuel-friendly policy made its way into the Biden campaign's climate plans. But remember what Rolling Stone will tell you that Trump lives in denial. And the Democrats and Joe Biden are all about it. And that's 100% lie that Rolling Stones is pushing. This is like something from, what is this from? Breitbart? Where did this fucking come from? Former Vice President Joe Biden, by contrast, believes in science and names the existential threat we are facing in global warming. Really? Hey, Biden-Obama administration approves Arctic drilling again. So they're just lying to you at Rolling Stone, straight up. Here's Joe Biden believing the science. Want to hear Joe Biden believe the science?
I am not banning fracking. Let me say that again. I am not banning fracking, no matter how many times Donald Trump lies about me.
Boy, wouldn't it be nice if Donald Trump's lies about him were true? That Joe Biden was going to ban fracking and he was going to give everybody health care? Wouldn't that be fun? Could you imagine vehemently denying that? I'm not going to give people health care, and I'm certainly not going to ban fracking. Those are lies. Do you see how he doesn't have a shame button in his demented head? By the way, at no point in this do they mention that he's demented. So the danger of climate change, but remember, it's an existential threat. Believe me, it's our deadly present. This is Rolling Stone. It's not it's our deadly present. It's Rolling Stone. Of course, the Democrats, take all the dough from the people doing the climate changing. They put climate changing policies that make climate change in their platforms. Of course, they open the Arctic to drilling whatever they want. They're not going to ban fracking or listen to the science. So the danger of climate change is not a future concern. It is our deadly present. So support the guy who gives us the timetable of going to 2050. It's not a future thing. So Joe Biden's not going to fix climate change until 2050. So the Rolling Stones contradicting themselves. Oh, by the way, so Biden also has foreign policy chops, honed over decades of service, to not only reverse Trump's course of America as a rogue nation on climate, but to also reassert U.S. leadership. Joe Biden's foreign policy chops are being for the Iraq War, turning Libya into a failed state with open slave markets, wanting to invade Syria, keeping us in Afghanistan for 18 years. That's his foreign policy bona fides. Who reads this? Who reads a Rolling Stone? A bunch of people who are head trauma victims? Is this for the comatose? And of course they won't put their names on it, the fucking cowards. Do you want to see about Joe Biden's leadership? The U.S. literally ran out of bombs under his foreign policy leadership. They ran out of bombs. Joe Biden dropped more bombs than George Bush. That's his foreign policy chops. Also, Joe Biden championing the Iraq War. Will that come back to haunt him now? No. Rolling Stone was even going to bring it up. Executions, torture, and slave markets persist in Libya. That's because of Joe Biden. This is his foreign policy chops. Obama's final arms export tally more than double George Bush's. This is Joe Biden's chops, according to Rolling Stone. Hey, the U.S. role in Honduras coup and subsequent violence. Oh, really? We did a coup in Honduras. Yeah. And then what did we do? We didn't allow those people in asylum in our country. Who did that? Barack Obama and Joe Biden. Hey, Biden vows to reverse the course of Trump's administration, openly discriminatory actions and policies towards the LGBT community. Yeah, so we'll wave the rainbow flag as we invade, bomb, and incinerate other countries. Isn't that nice? Mm-hmm. Have you read the testimony of actual people who've been in the military? Rolling Stone? Why spare transgenders the depression, PTSD, and suicide rates, right?
Mm-hmm.
The CIA is your friend. Don't believe me? They celebrate Pride Day. So they can be trusted. Mm. It doesn't matter what the country actually does, just as long as we all get to be a part of it. Hey, we're illegally invading other brown countries, killing their people and stealing their natural resources. Can the gays help? Yes. Victory. By the way, here's how he was on actual LGBT issues. Here's Joe Biden on LGBT. You want to know Joe Biden?
God only knows what else. I can't believe the American people can't see through this. We already have a law, the Defense of Marriage Act, where we've all voted, not where I voted and others said, look, marriage is between a man and a woman, and states must respect that. Nobody's violated that law. There's been no challenge to that law. Why do we need a constitutional amendment? Marriage is between a man and a woman. What's the game going on here?
What's the game? What kind of a game are you guys playing where you want equal rights for gays? That's some kind of a game to Joe Biden. What kind of a game are you playing where gays get to be treated equally? What kind of a game? That's Joe Biden. And the point is that Rolling Stone is a garbage publication that is straight up lying. How come this doesn't get censored from Twitter? The administration's inhuman actions to separate migrant parents from their children at the border, including mothers from infants, has left a stain on our national character. So they're saying Trump did that. They're saying Trump did this. This is what Rolling Stone, again, is pushing a straight up lie that this started under Trump. It did not. Who could debunk Rolling Stone? How about that cutting-edge investigative reporting outlet, USA Today? USA Today, more truthful and cutting-edge than Rolling Stone. Because what did they tell you? They'll tell you the truth. And what is the truth? The claim that Michelle Obama criticized the Trump administration for putting kids in cages, but the cages were built during the Obama administration. That is actually true. That is a truth that Rolling Stone cannot tell. U.S. says deportation of Honduran children a warning to illegal migrants. So we overthrew their government, and then we deported Honduran children. Obama did that, not Trump. Obama. Do you see what the date of this is? That's from July 2014. That's Obama's policy of overthrowing a poor nation and then deporting the children who seek asylum in our country. That's Barack Obama and Joe Biden. An ICE spokesman told me that Trump's inability to deport more people than Obama is due in part to local law enforcement refusing to work with ICE, like here in Los Angeles. The majority of deportations come from cooperation with state and local law enforcement partners, he said, and that's not happening. So it turns out ICE, under Trump, has deported half as many people as Barack Obama and Joe Biden did in his first 4 years. Did you know that? That Trump's ICE has deported half of the Hispanics that Joe Biden deported in his first 4 years. Did you know that? You didn't know that. You know why? Because garbage people at the garbage publication called Garbage Rolling Stone aren't going to tell you that. You know who will? USA Today and a fucking pothead jagoff comedian. The nation's healthcare situation is critical. More than 5 million Americans have lost workplace insurance coverage in the pandemic, adding to the more than 1.25 million who have fallen off the Obama rolls. So the reason why you want to vote for Joe Biden, according to Garbage Rolling Stone, is because of health care. And what has Joe Biden vowed to do for people for health care? He's vowed to deny them health care if it passes the Congress. That's what he's done. What else has he done? He's vowed to bring back the Obama individual mandate penalty for not having insurance. All that is a giveaway to health insurance companies. That doesn't help. That's what he's willing to do. He's willing to tax you and send that tax directly to a corporation.
In the middle of people losing their jobs,
That's
losing
right.
their health
That's
care,
right.
losing access to a shelter.
That's right. 87% of Democrats support Medicare for all, though Joe Biden doesn't. Over his long career, Biden has equivocated on abortion, saying at times that Roe v. Wade went too far and voicing support for the Hyde Amendment, a measure banning federal funding for most abortions. But he has since made significant efforts to put any doubts to rest.
I don't know what that means, Rolling Stone.
What are his significant efforts to get on the right side of a woman's right to choose? Because Joe Biden's on the wrong side. What are his efforts? Well, let's see. Oh, he's not opposed to Amy Coney Barrett, who's trying to overturn abortion. So he's for her. Could Rolling Stone be bigger liars? They're like Joe Isuzu from 25 years ago. They say Sean Hannity and Fox News are liars. They are, but they're not any bigger liars than MSNBC or CNN. And by the way, they can't hold a fucking candle to Rolling Stone. Sean Hannity, at his best day, isn't half as good as liar as Rolling Stone magazine. The daily functioning of our government could, under a Biden administration, be revived following a single Trump term. Really? So if you get some more of those Democrats in, he's going to get the government running well? But it turns out Joe Biden's going to staff his cabinet with a bunch of Republicans anyway. Biden sets eyes GOP candidates for cabinet slots. Progressives fret as Joe Biden's transition team vets a handful of Republicans for his potential administration. No progressives. But if Trump gets another 4 years, the America as we know it will grow dark and unrecognizable.
Because there are no longer checks and balances in the government? Is that it?
I guess. Corruption at our essential public agencies could take root, and our democracy might never... Corruption could take root? This is, again, corruption started on January 2017. Corruption could take place. Corruption could take place, and our democracy might never truly recover. Well, Joe Biden went and campaigned in a swing state for a Republican over a Democrat for $200,000. So if you're worried about our democracy under Trump, this guy will sell you out for $200,000. Joe Biden supported a Republican for $200,000. Biden is a different kind of Democrat, the kind who lavishly praises Republicans who are fighting for re-election. By the way, the guy who he was praising in that speech for $200,000 was trying to dismantle Obamacare. That Republican. That's what Joe Biden, that's his integrity. He doesn't have any. Joe Biden is your enemy. And when he gets elected, you have another big problem. I'm going to say it's a bigger problem. He's going to deport more Hispanics than Trump. As much as any specific policy, this election is a referendum on character. The character of the president and the character of the nation. America doesn't need a saint in the Oval Office, but the country has been reeling with a broken man at the Resolute desk.
You know, the Barack Obama came out and said, we tortured some folks.
We tortured some folks.
So I don't understand what they're talking about character.
Character. Joe Biden's plagiarism problem. Character. He's a pathological liar, Joe Biden. That's not exaggeration. That's not hyperbole. He's a pathological liar. I've showed you in this segment already how he's a pathological liar. They knew it 40 years ago when he ran for president the first time. He had to step down from the campaign in shame. Biden lived experience and expansive empathy make him not just good, but an outstanding candidate. His expansive empathy. So the big problem for the Democrats is getting Bernie's voters to vote for the Democratic candidate, and those are young people. So let's see his expansive empathy. According to Rolling Stone, his expansive empathy. Here's his expansive empathy.
And so the younger generation now tells me how tough things are. Give me a break. No. I have no empathy for it.
He literally used the word that Rolling Stone pretended he has. Empathy. He literally said, no, I have no empathy. Rolling Stones is such a garbage publication. They literally used that word to say he has it. But a jagoff comedian pothead in his garage knew that he actually used that word. I knew that. But the smarty pants asswipes tools at Rolling Stone did not know this. Did they have Matt? I literally got fact checked when I was on their podcast. They literally cut out words inside of my fucking paragraphs at Rolling Stone. But this shit's okay. Rolling Stone literally edited out words I said inside of paragraphs because they said they had to fact check it. You fucking garbage liars. You guys don't fact check a fucking thing. Biden's opposition to marijuana legalization is at odds with most Americans' views. That's his expansive empathy. He wants to keep people locked up for pot, right? That's his empathy. The guy who engineered the prison population explosion in America. The contrast between the 2020 candidates could not be clearer. This is a fight between light and darkness. Rolling Stone is proud to stand in the light and endorse Joe Biden for president.
Okay. All right.
Wow.
A stand in the light. Jimmy, that just makes me want to puke.
There is no light or dark in this election, Rolling Stone, you garbage liars. There is dark and darker, and I don't know which one is which. Joe Biden's killed more people than Donald Trump. Joe Biden's hurt more poor people than Donald Trump. Joe Biden deported more Hispanics than Donald Trump. Joe Biden militarized the police more than Donald Trump. Joe Biden ordered more fracking pipes under this country than Donald Trump. Joe Biden opened up the Arctic to drilling more than Donald Trump. Joe Biden created more wars than Donald Trump. But you're going to stand in that light. They're going to stand in the light with Joe Biden. There is no light at the FYI, assholes at Rolling Stone. There is no light at the end of this tunnel. Both parties have the same destination. Only one offers you comfier seats. Both Biden and Harris represent corporations that have nothing but contempt for this planet and all living beings on it. Notice this article didn't highlight his foreign policy. You notice that? I'm sure it's just an oversight and not a dishonest omission. I'm sure it was just an oversight at Rolling Stone and not a complete bullshit, dishonest, bad faith article. So, folks, listen to the Penske Corporation and vote against your interests. It's the only decent thing to do.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
Steadiness, competence. Hey, everybody, this is the part where I tell you where all our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then this is why I tell you to join our premium program and get extra content, but nobody's got a fucking job. So just enjoy the video.